Meet Klint Kubiak. The new Saints OC chats with media for the first time. This is with WWL. Ladies and gentlemen, what a treat we have today. Klint Kubiak, the mysterious one, the one that I thought didn't even exist. Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Klint Kubiak all hang out together. Finally, we are getting to hear from Klint Kubiak. So I assume he came to New Orleans for the draft and all of that. Mike Haas in the vest is going to interview the one and only Klint Kubiak in some kind of side room dungeon, it looks like here. Mike has the Icebreakers mints. I haven't seen that little canister of mints since I think I was in 9th grade. So good to see those still make those. Let's hear from Klint himself. This is the first time we have heard his voice since he was signed as the Saints OC. First time I have seen him since he was signed as the Saints OC. So excited to hear this.
New offensive coordinator, Klint Kubiak, joining us, and I guess just overall, how has it been since have you even set foot out of the building? Did they lock you in? Have you been out at all in New Orleans?
More or less, yeah. We've been pretty dialed in, getting our staff together, getting our playbook together, meeting the players. But I have got out to a few times to get to eat and see the city, so it's been great.
This is a wild, this is a wild structure of an interview. Klint is not facing the camera. I have no clue what he looks like. I have a good idea of what the side of his neck looks like, but wild interview setup here. Okay, so I guess Klint has been in New Orleans. I really, honestly, I have not known. I didn't know if he has been in New Orleans or if he stayed out west or where he is. So it sounds like he's been in the facility, getting the staff together and all that stuff.
Tell me, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, overall, if people are going to go, well, what's your offensive philosophy? What's your foundation? What's a Klint Kubiak offense?
Yeah. Well, I think
great question.
We just want to be grounded and run the football. We want to have an identity that we can run the ball versus 8-man fronts, and that's something we're going to stress to our guys early in the off season, and building our play actions and building, moving the pocket off of that, and trying to be a really.
That's something that's gotten mixed up a little bit. So I've heard a lot of people say, well, Klint Kubiak is going to fix Derek Carr. Klint Kubiak is going to fix the passing attack. Klint Kubiak is going to do this, and this, air raid, whatever. That's not exactly how this works. Like, if you think about the 49ers, if you think about the Rams, if you think about the Dolphins, those are all Shanahan tree, specifically Kyle Shanahan tree guys. All of those teams run the football. Even the Miami Dolphins are a great running team. The Los Angeles Rams, they are run-first, play-action kind of an offense. And we know that the 49ers are a run-first offense as well. So where Kubiak will probably really impact the Saints the most is in the running game. And that's why I like the Talise Fuaga pick at number 14, because we are going to have to run that wide zone scheme. We're going to have to run the football. We're going to have to be able to do the halfback stretches and all that stuff that you see in Shanahan's offense. So that's something that I think got kind of mixed up here, but hearing it from Kubiak is reassuring because that's what I thought the whole time. But we are going to be a run-oriented offense. So where you will see Kubiak's offense kind of flourish first and foremost is going to be if we can run the football, which is good because we couldn't run the football at all last year. We didn't have a single game where we had an individual rusher over 90 yards. So we need to be able to run the football. We could not run the football last year, so I love hearing this.
A good team on first and second down, so that'll be kind of stuff we're dialed in on here in phase 1 and phase 2.
And Coach, that's what I was going to ask you. I know you guys have been in the OTAs.
And Deuce, boom, out of nowhere, Deuce shows up. What's happened is Saints legend Deuce McAllister.
The last couple of weeks, and whether it's acclimation and classroom stuff coming as you build it from a playbook standpoint. Do you try to throw it all to them all at once as far as like over the summer, and then we kind of pull back once we get into training camp? So I know what guys can understand, what guys feel comfortable with, and then even from you, because it's almost an evaluation standpoint. I know what you look like on film, but what do you
There
look
we
like?
go. Okay, now the camera's figuring things out a little bit. Granted, Kubiak's had to turn to Deuce, but now we can kind of see the man himself, Klint Kubiak. I'm not sure if this is a bouncer, a security guard in the back here, very intimidating hombre. It looks like someone on The Sopranos.
Like on the field. That's what you've got to get a feel for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Coach Allen gives us a lot of meeting time, so we have the ability to give them a lot of information, see what they can retain, and try to probably throw a lot more than you would in a typical game plan, so that guys are familiar with some schemes you might try to pull up, in week 6, so there's some retention going back into the spring. So we definitely are going to load the guys up a lot mentally, and
I like that. Dump it all. I like that. Dump it all and see what they can retain, challenge the guys, see who picks it up, whatever. And then as we get close to the season, if you have to, scale it back or what have you. But right now, throw it all out there. Get the whole Kubiak offense. Get the whole dump the whole thing. Let the guys try and absorb it. Let them try and sponge it up, and then we'll go from there. But I don't think you got to play. You don't have to pacify, or you don't have to take baby steps. Just dump the whole thing.
That's a big part of this early process is figuring out how we're going to teach our system and the best ways to get our concepts taught and understood, and when we're going to show the film and when we're going to get on the grass. So it's a fun part of the year right now, planning for that process.
So I got a fun thing for me and you. Give me a play, generic play. Just give me a play. I just want to see if I can pick up what you're teaching me.
Yeah. This is like asking a comedian to tell you a joke. This is like, anytime it's like, oh, you're a comedian, you're a funny guy, you got a joke for me? That's what it feels like.
Trips right 18 support.
Support or sport?
Support.
Trips right, obviously we got that. We're running out 11. So how do you, is it zebra for names? Is it 12 personnel? How do you distinct that from a personnel standpoint?
Well, I don't want to tell them.
No, you don't have
Carolina,
to. Generic. We're generic.
Yeah, look Kubiak, baby. There you go. Yeah, let's not give the whole thing away here, Deuce. I mean, he wants to say, hey, how do you do this? Give us the call sheet, give us the plays. Come on, Deuce. I mean, man, we're on the radio here. This is public knowledge. You can't be doing that, especially with me putting this out there. You got thousands of people watching this, so I'm glad Kubiak's keeping it close to the chest. Kubiak's thinking. I like that.
Generic. We're generic.
Yeah, 11, 12, 21.
Okay, and so from a personnel standpoint, that's normally how we're getting it in. And so from trips right, I got that. Yep. And then the 18 support, that offensive line understands and knows exactly what that is, and whether it's a numbered system, everybody's able to check right away. From a control standpoint, your quarterback, he comes up, he sees something. I don't like it. It looks like it's a strong safety blitz off the right side. Does he have? I mean, I'm assuming he has the right to audible right now. He can throw hot. What's the communication that you want him to be able to pick up so he can give that other information to the offensive linemen as well as the receivers?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like any OC is going to say the same thing. Like any OC is going to say, yes, obviously the quarterback has the ability to get out of a play if they don't like what they see. And then that just follows. I mean, y'all know how that works. Like the quarterback then has to change the offensive line blocking. He has to change the blocking schemes and all of that. Just tries to, okay, if there's a safety blitzing off the right, he's going to shift the blocking to pick that up. He's going to move people around. And then obviously telling the wide receivers the check. So I'm not, I mean, I don't think that's exclusive to Kubiak.
Well, I think this time of year it's important that you start small and you kind of call it and haul it and get guys.
You just run it to run it.
And you build on what checks can be, and then you get to know the quarterback more, and we get familiar with each other and what those checks could be. So I think that's part of the relationship process.
It's a good answer too. Like basically Kubiak's answer is we got to focus on the play before we focus it on checking out of it. We got to focus on running the play before we worry about how to get out of the play. We got to work before we start modifying the play. Let's just learn how to run the actual offense. Let's learn what the plays are. Let's learn all that stuff, and then we can modify. So, yeah, I mean, we're not even at square one. We're before square one. So you can't start modifying stuff and checking out stuff and changing things when you don't even know what the thing is.
Between me and Derek. So, but we're gonna start small and get good at something first before we start going into the.
That's where you can be though at some point. Yeah,
you got to.
I mean, you have to.
Sure.
Correct.
What the hell, Deuce?
No, and so that's I'm just trying to check it out, Coach. That's all.
It's a process for sure, and I think that is one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to get there and get too advanced too early. Let's get our guys in there and get good at something and have an.
Why would Deuce ask that on air? That's the crazy. This is blowing my mind. You finally get a chance to talk to Klint Kubiak. You finally get a chance to talk to the OC. And your first question is, how do you audible out of a play? How do you check out of a play? What's the verbiage? The first question, like really think about this. The first question that we hear Klint Kubiak get asked, besides Mike Hoss's question, the first question we get here is, what is the verbiage used to audible out of your play? Why? Who cares? What is the verbiage used to call a play, and then what is the verbiage used to check out of the play? Wild. That's the first question we hear.
An identity, and that's you got to get an identity first, so you got something to fall back on.
What about Taysom Hill, and kind of, not necessarily how you will use him, but having a tool in your offensive belt like a Taysom, and it's sky's the limit, I would imagine.
Yeah, really excited to work with him. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for him as a player. Haven't played against him, haven't seen him on film, and I think that'll be a fun part of the offseason as well, is getting to work together with him.
Yep, Taysom is definitely something where not everyone's going to utilize him like Sean Payton did. Like, not everyone's going to see, have the same vision and same philosophy with that. But you do have him, right? And he's 33, so he's in the last little bit of his time. But you do have him, and you do have to figure out, like, even if you don't want to use him just like Payton did, you do have to figure out how to use him. You have to figure out, okay, we have this Swiss Army knife. We have Taysom Hill. How do we incorporate him into what we're trying to do? Will he be a focal point? Probably not. Will he be overly used like Peyton used him? Probably not. But how is he going to be used? Where is he best fit in this offense? How is he schemed? Is he a Deebo Samuel type player, or is he, all of a sudden more in that, like, I don't want to say Christian McCaffrey, but is he more in that role, or is he going to be throwing or running? I mean, there's so much. Is he more in that, like, George Kittle role? I'm just picking those players because, obviously the San Francisco ties. But Taysom is interesting, and we'll have to wait and see with Kubiak and how he utilizes Taysom. But he is a fun wrinkle for an OC to inherit.
Coach, now you got my blood just churning a little bit. You're talking about running the ball. As a former running back, that gets me excited a little bit now. I mean, just when you look at it from a philosophy standpoint, and I know it's hard here, but in this draft of the running backs, of the skill players offensively, just talk about some of the pluses. We'll go with the quarterbacks that are in this draft. Some of the pluses that you see from those guys that potentially will be round one, round two type guys.
Why the hell are we asking Klint Kubiak about quarterbacks in this draft when we are not drafting a quarterback? We are not drafting a quarterback in the first round. They probably haven't even looked at these guys. They probably haven't even went through it. Like, why would Klint Kubiak be wasting any of his time coming up with any kind of a draft profile for Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy? Why would he be doing any of that? Talk about Derek Carr. Talk about the offense. Talk about the scheme. Talk about the identity. What do you want to do this year that you couldn't do last year? That's what we should be talking about. Why the hell do I care about what Klint Kubiak thinks about the positives about Caleb Williams and Drake May?
Yeah, well, I think probably the number one thing you'd be looking at is, like, how many games has the guy played? How many games has he started? What's his record? The guy that probably get taken first overall tonight has played a lot of football, won a lot of football games. So I think, is he a winner? That's something that you're looking for. The decision making, the timing, and accuracy. Those are kind of three things we spend a lot of time on as coaches. So those would be probably the top four I'd be looking at: record, decision making, timing.
Why would record matter? That's crazy. I mean, not that this answer matters, but why would you care about record? Like, Patrick Mahomes' record at Texas Tech was awful. Who cares? Like, why does a record, Josh Allen's record at Wyoming wasn't very good either? Why the hell does a record matter? Caleb Williams' record last year compared to, Michael Penix's record, I mean, that's wild. That's a wild answer. That record and games played were the first thing he said. I would think you could pretty much throw them out.
I mean, accuracy and how that would fit into what we do.
You worked with Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, certainly Brock Purdy. Just curious as to and I know it's early and you've known of him, but what skills does Derek Carr possess that you think
Mike.
advantageous? Not
yes,
in,
thank
in
you.
A system, but your system.
Yes, Good question.
I think Derek's is a really good athlete. I think he's extremely accurate with the ball. And, he's played a lot of football. And obviously a huge part of me getting to come here was the chance to get to work with him. And I've observed him from a long time, just following the league. And he's a quarterback I have a lot of respect for. And just my short time with him has been really impressive. And number one, his intellect and what he can handle. And
okay, there we go. Good answer.
Carry upstairs. But just those guys going out throwing and catching right now, that he's in really good shape. It's really important to him to be a great player, and it's really important to me and our coaches that we give him a successful system that he can have. He can build some confidence in.
You love to hear that. You love to hear that Derek Carr. He's impressed with Carr's intellectual abilities. That means he's not afraid to dump a complex system. He's not afraid to dump the playbook. I think because that kind of lines up with communication, right? If he feels like he intellectually can be there, and obviously Kubiak's going to be nothing but complimentary here, but if Kubiak feels like he can trust Carr's mind, then that only benefits us from a communication standpoint. It only benefits what Kubiak can do, coming into the headset with Derek Carr. So love to hear that. And then, I'm glad Carr is staying in tip-top shape. Ladies and gentlemen, it is never wrong to be strong.
I was curious. San Fran finished first in the NFL as far as red zone, TDs, 67%, excuse me. Also very strong on third down. I was just kind of curious as to, from a philosophical standpoint, what was it that made your offense so successful either on third down or really inside the 20?
Okay. Good question, Mike. Mike with the question of how do we kind of get this hombre right here. Those eyeballs, that's a stare right there. But good question, right? The question is, okay, red zone, y'all were really successful in San Francisco. What did y'all do, and how can we be that successful here, since red zone was a big issue for us early in the season and for most of the season? So, what is your philosophy? How do you see the red zone? How do we attack it? How do we boost our success rate?
Yeah, I think speaking first to the red zone, it's not one thing. It's being able to run the ball down there, and that's having an identity.
Yes.
Getting to run the ball and having success there on base downs in the red zone, so you're not getting into 3rd and 6 from the 6, 3rd and 10 from the 10.
True. Thank you. Yes, it's exactly what we did last year at Pete Carmichael. We didn't have an identity. So what happened in the red zone? We end up with 3rd and long, or 3rd and 7 from the 7, and all of a sudden we're kicking field goals. So maintain your identity. I love that. Because how many times did I say last year we don't have an identity? So I like that Kubiak is saying, and that's what we said last year a lot too during the season, was that the Saints offense changes. Why is it changing? Do what works everywhere on the field. Just because you're in the red zone, don't alter your offense, because that's where we'd stall out. We'd be great in between the 20s, but then all of a sudden we get in the red zone, we're a completely different team. We're a shell of ourselves. So Kubiak is basically saying you have your identity, stick to your identity in the red zone, and if you do that and you have success elsewhere, then that success should carry over, which I agree with 100%.
Those are tough downs. You want to try to avoid those. You want to score on your base down. So
yes,
I think that's something that Coach Shanahan really harped on with those guys. As far as the third down,
well said. I've always thought that was crazy too. Let's say you're 1st and 10 from the 10. A lot of people are thinking, okay, we get 3 yards on first down, we get 3 yards on second down. Okay, now it's 3rd and 4 from the 4. We could try and score there, or we kick a field goal. What you really should be thinking is, okay, it's 1st and 10 from the 10. How do we score on first down? How do we score on second down? Way too many teams all of a sudden take baby steps. You would never think that in the middle of the field, right? You would never think, okay, it's 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line. Let's get 3 yards here, 3 yards again, and then let's get on third down. You would think, how do we pick up 10 yards right here? How do we pick up 20 yards? How do we stretch the field? You should think the same thing in the red zone. I understand you can't push the ball down the field, but if it's 1st and 10 from the 10, it's okay to think, hey, let's score here. Let's try and score right here. Let's try and get it in one chunk. Let's not try and baby step, tip-tap-toe our way down to a 3rd and 1 on the 1. Too many teams believe that's the way to go in the red zone. They believe that a red zone touchdown should finish with, a 3rd and 1 on the 1, I formation, running back scores a 1-yard touchdown. Quarterback sneaks it in. That doesn't have to happen. So I like what Kubiak's saying here.
That's a whole nother set of deals, but it's a team game, and we had a lot of really good players on offense, and it all started with them having great protection up front, good decision maker at quarterback, and weapons on the outside. So it's all about the players, and we as coaches just got to put an organized plan together for them.
Mike, I don't have anything else for him. I mean, it's 5 o'clock. He's drinking black coffee with a shot of espresso. That's my man.
There you go, baby.
We good, baby. I don't have anything for him.
Well, welcome to New Orleans.
Right,
we appreciate it, and we look forward to working and talking more with you. And have a great 3 days. And
WWL, get it together. Damn it. I mean, what are these questions? Mike Haas carried, no doubt. Good job, Mike. What are these questions? Y'all, listen, y'all better get it together for the season. Y'all better get it. Listen, guys, I'll take you behind the curtain here. I'm dealing with a horrific injury to my hips, hip flexor strain, possibly a psoas strain. You know, we had a problem deadlifting. I'm basically incapacitated. I basically can't move my lower extremities. I have a pillow propping me up. I'm the pain I'm in. Most people would have had to shut it down. Most people would be laying face down on the floor for the next 2 or 3 days. I'm in excruciating pain, but I'm pumping out content. These guys are firing me up. These guys are making me tense up. These guys are making my hip flexor pulsate. I'm feeling the electric charges shooting up from my hips, shooting up from my legs, a burning sensation because my blood pressure is getting fired up. I'm getting tense listening to these questions. So WWL, don't jack me up. Don't mess me up this season. Get the questions ironed out. Get the reps in. Get the interviews ironed out, son. Week 1, I don't want to have to listen to this every week, okay? Week 1, week 2, week 3, and trust me, WWL, I'll be watching. We'll be doing reactions to all these interviews with Mickey Loomis, with Dennis Allen, with Klint Kubiak. I'll be here. I'm like Batman. I'm watching, okay? I'm checking everybody. I'm checking everyone in New Orleans sports media. So come correct with these questions. I was a former crime reporter for a Pulitzer Prize-winning newspaper. I interviewed Robin Roberts twice, okay? If you want help, Michael, Deuce, if you want help how to interview somebody, get in the DMs, get in the comments. I'm happy to help. Happy to offer some advice. Ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about this first soundbite from Klint Kubiak. I like what I hear so far. I like the idea of identity, pushing some of his red zone stuff. I like that. I like that he's drinking black coffee at 5 p.m. Same. I'm doing the same thing. I got coffee right here. It's 4:51. How about that? I'm recording this at 4:51 with black coffee. Ibuprofen pumping through my veins. Hopefully I can move my legs the next couple of days here. But good stuff from Klint. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.